Okay, so I want to go through how to find all the angles. Now, something that's important is it doesn't always matter where you start. Meaning, I don't have to solve for A first. Like, I don't have to go in alphabetical order. So, I'm going to first look at my parallel lines. Let's go, well, we can start with A in this case. So, I have parallel lines here, but what I noticed there at A is that I have some vertical angles. So, I know this has to be 64. Okay, I can use my linear pairs then to get B and that unnamed angle. So we have 180 minus 64, which gives me 116. Okay, 116. So I have 116 both here and here. Now notice I wasn't asking you to find that unnamed angle, but sometimes that does actually help us. Okay, so again, using those parallel lines, I know that 64 that was given, this also has to be 64. Those are alternate interior angles. And then with my new 64, I have vertical angles here. I know C and this unnamed angle, because of either linear pairs or corresponding, I know each of those has to be 116. Okay, so I say let's find another set of vertical angles. Let's go down here at the bottom corner. The bottom left, I have 79 degrees here. Well, then N has to be 79 degrees. Look up here at P. I know I have a right angle here. Well, P and that right angle form a linear pair, so I know P has to be 90. Over here at M, I know if that angle is 75, this angle has to be 75. So using my linear pairs, each of those remaining angles then has to be 105. It's kind of messy. Okay, over here, the 169, I know this has to be 169, which makes this little teeny tiny angle 11. And its vertical angle is 11. Not quite to Q yet. Let's come back to that one. All right, then, let's see. Let's go over here to the 61. So I have 61 here. Okay, again, using my linear pairs, 180 minus 61 is what, 119? So T and that unnamed angle has to be 119. If you look at E, 108, there's my vertical angles, there's 108. So then F has to be 72, and the unnamed angle has to be 72. Okay, then we have some parallel lines here. We have where it says 3 arrows and 3 arrows. So those are parallel lines, which means then I have more alternate interior angles. So the 108 must also be here, and its vertical angle G must be 108. I can think about the other alternate interior angles. If that first one is 72, this has to be 72, and its vertical angle has to be 72. Now notice this line right here has 3 arrows down here and 1 down here. So it means that not only were these first 2 lines we're talking about parallel, but then it's also parallel. These 2 are also parallel. So all 3 of those lines are parallel to each other. And then if you keep going, really all of these lines that are going in this direction are parallel to each other. We have overlapping, so all of those are parallel to each other. So that actually is going to help me then up here at I and J. So G and J end up being alternate interior angles, so those have to be both 108. So H in this unnamed angle, this alternate interior angle, has to be 72. Again, I can do my vertical angles there. Okay, S and K, I can just take their corresponding angles. So K and I are corresponding. That has to be 108. 72 and S have to be corresponding, so that has to be 72. So let's go back down here to Q. Let's go back down here to Q. Now remember, we talked about this line is actually parallel to all the other lines as well. So Q and B end up actually being corresponding angles. So I know that has to be 116 as well. Now, another way you really could have gotten to that, and it really wouldn't be wrong at this point. I would not count you wrong for this. But we could have looked at this triangle right here. Many of you know there's 180 degrees in a triangle, and we could have solved, since we knew this angle and this angle, we could have solved for this missing angle and then used a linear pair here. That would have worked as well. Or we could have done 64 and this angle right here, or corresponding, and we could have gotten Q. But again, that's the beauty of these types of problems, because you can jump all over the place and many different ways to get a solution.